Welcome, my friends, back to Beyond the Well, where forgotten histories and untold legends awaken. I never expected to find that well, hidden deep in the woods behind my house. But when I touched its sacred water, I saw more than my own reflection. I saw another world. A world shaped by light and shadow, by heroes and tyrants, by choices that still echo through time. Join me as I uncover the stories of Aldarion that lie beyond the well. The Branding, Episode 3, The Path of No Return. The fire crackled low in the pit, casting jagged shadows along the rocky overhang where the stranger, now known as Xathis, and Brennar sat. The night was silent, save for the distant howl of a lone wolf. Xathis had built their camp high in the cliffs overlooking the valley, where the wind carried the scent of damp earth and pine. Brennar sat on the cold stone, the weight of his new strength pressing against his bones. His staff, his weapon, rested beside him. It was not the same size as when he had first carved it. It had changed. The dark veins that coiled along the grain had spread, deepening into the wood like roots drinking from something unseen. He ran a hand over it, feeling the hum beneath his fingers. "Why does it keep changing?" he muttered. Xathis, crouched across from him, smirked slightly. "Because it's bound to you." Brennar looked up, his brow furrowed. "The Nexus is not just power," Xathis continued. "It is connection. To wield it, you must command it. It will reshape itself to match your will, a reflection of your strength." Brennar nodded, gripping the staff in both hands. It felt lighter than it should, despite its increasing size. And it moved with him, almost as if it anticipated where he was thinking to strike. Xathis watched him for a long moment before speaking again. "The Nexus flows in two ways, through submission and through dominance." His voice was quiet but charged with meaning. Brennar lifted his gaze. "The weak think power must be given, bestowed upon them by fate or by the mercy of the gods," Xathis continued, his tone laced with contempt. "They kneel, waiting to be chosen, waiting for strength to be gifted to them like a scrap from the king's table." He leaned forward, eyes sharp as a blade. "But the strong, my boy, the strong take it." Brennar swallowed hard. The words settled deep in his chest. "The dark side of the Nexus does not ask, it claims. It does not wait, it demands. It is will made manifest. Others will only follow if they are properly motivated." Xathis smiled faintly. "And that is why we are here." Brennar followed his gaze down to the valley below. Flickering torchlight dotted the edges of a village nestled against the trees. Wooden houses, a few simple stone structures, narrow streets winding through the settlement. To Brennar's eyes, it was a village like any other. "What did they do?" Brennar asked, though deep down he already knew the answer. Xathis stood, adjusting his cloak. "It's not about what they have done," he said smoothly. "But if it matters to you, they are thieves, bandits, brigands that prey on the weak. But tonight, you will show them who is really weak. They are undeserving. They take from the world without offering anything in return. They grow fat in their safety, never knowing what it means to lose everything." He turned to Brennar. "Tonight, you will teach them." Brennar felt his pulse quicken. "Burn it," Xathis ordered, his voice low and menacing. Brennar felt a surge from his staff. "Take what you need. Let them fear you." Brennar stared at the village. His staff in his grip pulsed like a living thing, waiting for him to move. He took a breath. and then he stepped forward. The guard saw him emerge from the shadowed trees and rose. "Halt, stranger! Who are you, and what are you doing?" Brennar walked straight up to him and said in a low voice, "Tell the women and children to leave." The man's eyes widened in alarm. "What?" His hand instinctively going to his sword, but the sword never made it out of its sheath. Brennar's staff whirled up and around and came down with a wicked crack on the man's head, crushing him to the ground. Silent. He moved past the gate and into the rows of the makeshift huts. A woman came out of one, clutching a baby who was crying. He turned and looked at her, his eyes dark. She was taken back and stopped, paralyzed with fear. He turned to her and said, "Run while you still can." A loud ruckus laughter came from behind, and Brennar's head snapped round. A tavern, he thought, alive with men, drink, and making merry. He strode forward straight across the village center, shoved open the door, and the cool night air pushed past him and put out the candles near the door. His fist curled around the staff. All around the room, eyes fell on him, and the laughter turned to surprise, then anger. A big man near Brennar rose and puffed out his chest, his hand curling into a fist. Brennar noticed this, and a pleasurable smile spread across his face. "What's so funny, boy? You look a little too young to drink. Maybe you should—" That was the last thing the man ever said before Brennar's staff swung up, shattering the man's jaw and sending him flying back into the tables. Brennar's staff snapped through the air, connecting with bone and flesh as the entire tavern turned on him. A sickening crack, a shove, a spin. The staff became a whirling motion of destruction as man after man crumpled to the earthen floor of the tavern. The smell of blood mixed with spirits filled his nostrils. As the last man of the tavern went silent, Brennar walked over to a candle, took it from its perch, and dropped it onto the bar soaked with strong drink. Flames erupted and spread throughout the building. Alarms rang out. Shadows moved behind the torchlight. Voices rose in confusion. The tavern turned into a giant fireball as he walked out looking for his next victim. Brennar moved like a storm. His strength was greater than he had ever imagined, each strike landing with the force of an avalanche. A man lunged at him with a blade. Brennar caught his wrist, twisting hard, feeling it snap before hurling him aside. Another came from behind. He spun, bringing the full weight of his staff down. The wood crushed into flesh, and another body fell. Some tried to flee. Others tried to fight. Neither succeeded. The village burned around him. The flames licked at the sky, casting long, writhing shadows along the dirt paths and wooden walls. A woman screamed. Brennar turned and found the same woman clutching a child to her chest, her eyes wide with terror. For just a moment, something in him faltered. "She isn't your enemy." He turned to her. "Go," pointing into the dark of the night. But the staff was heavy in his hand, and the brands on his arms burned, and the whispers curling around his thoughts. "The strong take." He exhaled sharply, paused, then turned away, and let her house collapse in a shower of sparks. The village fire flickered behind him as Brennar walked away from the ruins, his heart pounding, but it was not from the battle. He didn't return to Xathis immediately. Instead, he wandered into the woods, his breath shallow. His staff felt heavier than before. The markings on his arms ached like fresh wounds. His hand drifted towards his pack. His fingers brushed against something soft and crumpled. The note. He hesitated, then pulled it free. In the dim light of the ember still glowing behind him, he unfolded the letter. "My son, no matter where you go, no matter what you become, you will always be loved." His breath caught. His mother's handwriting was delicate, full of warmth. He reached out his fingers to touch the words, and as he did so, blood from his hand dripped onto the note. He recoiled, stunned at the contrast. Then he began to shake. He read his mother's words again, and he fell to his knees. "No, Mother. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have." The words clawed at something buried deep inside of him. Garrick would have wanted justice, he reminded himself. This is for him. "After Ashmore," he said, his voice shaking. "After I make them pay, then I'll go home. I'll join the Grey Cloaks. I'll fix this. I'll make it right." The wind rustled through the trees. Brennar realized his whole body was shaking. He folded the note carefully, slipping it back into his pack. Then a voice. "You hesitate," Xathis murmured. He was leaning against a tree, arms crossed, watching. His presence had been so silent, so effortless, that Brennar hadn't even heard him approach. Brennar clenched his jaw. "I did what you asked." Xathis nodded. "Yes, and yet you hold on to your past." Brennar said nothing. Xathis stepped closer. "You think this path ends with vengeance? That you will simply strike down the ones who took your brother and then just walk away?" Brennar's grip on his staff tightened. Xathis smirked. "That's not how this works." Brennar forced himself to meet the soul hunter's gaze. "Ashmore is next." Xathis studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "Ashmore," he agreed, and together they walked into the night. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for coming with me beyond the well. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking, following, or subscribing. And if you have a moment, I would love a review. Your feedback truly makes a difference. If you want to dive deeper into the well, visit beyondthewell.net for show notes, transcripts, maps, character descriptions, and much, much more. And until next time, keep seeking, keep dreaming, and keep telling your story. Bye.